Hey everyone, Larry Chen here. I just wanted to thank all of you so much for your support. So many of you reached out after Formula Drift announced that I would be inducted into the 2025 FD Hall of Fame. It's been so crazy since then. I got hundreds, if not thousands of DMs, and I finally just got through all of them. So I appreciate everyone so much. After FD announced everything during the top 16 introductions, it was very, very difficult for me to focus and concentrate on my work to actually photograph the race. But I pushed through it, got home, got a couple hours of sleep, and then flew out here to Kyoto, which is where I am now. We're shooting a bunch of Japan content to kick off spring, and I'm out here enjoying the cherry blossoms. Hopefully we get to shoot a lot of cool cars with the cherry blossoms. I posted a small piece on Instagram with a couple points that I missed during my speech. I just wanted to do a longer piece on YouTube to give everyone my thoughts on what happened. This whole thing landed on my lap a couple months ago. Ryan Sage reached out to me and told me that it was going to happen. I was so floored. I just was beside myself, and I just couldn't understand how is it that I was inducted, because I assumed that it was just going to be drivers in the Formula Drift Hall of Fame, especially because it started off with Reese Millen, Samuel Hubinett, and Tanner Faust. I figured next up in line would probably be Von Gittin Jr., Chris Forsberg, Dario Shohara, so on and so forth. There's just so many incredibly talented individuals in the paddock that deserve this honor. With that said, it feels like it's even more of an honor because of the fact that I'm not a driver. I can probably speak for most of the media individuals out there and content creators surrounding drifting when I say that we do it for the passion, we do it for the love of the sport. We absolutely enjoy shooting drifting and telling stories, shooting video, shooting pictures. We don't do it for any type of recognition in any way, shape, or form. The drivers, on the other hand, push hard and they give it their all in order to earn those trophies, in order to earn their championships, which is awesome. It gives them a reason to push super hard. But we push really hard because we absolutely just love it so much. It just didn't even come across my radar in any way, shape, or form. I didn't even realize that I was in contention at all. So that's why it was such a big surprise to me. Leading up to it, I honestly was super nervous. Like my heart was beating out of my chest all day, and it was really hard for me to focus on photography because I just wasn't sure how it would be received by everybody in the paddock. I just didn't know, I just don't know. I really do appreciate everyone so much for their support. Formula Drift is just so insane in that they've given all of us a platform. And when I say all of us, I don't just mean the content creators. I mean the drivers, the teams, the sponsors, anyone that has anything to do with the series. If they wanted to create content to promote the series or promote themselves or promote the product, they allow it. And while this sounds normal in the drift world, it's completely not normal when it comes to a professional racing series. I've shot pretty much every single major racing series, and they just don't allow a free-for-all. It's so limited and it's so regulated because they're so protective of their image most of the time. The fact that Formula Drift allows everybody, including the fans, if you folks come out with a DSLR, a mirrorless camera, or just your cell phone, or whatever camera, and you bring it in with you in your backpack and you're in the stands, you can create content. You can talk to the drivers, interview the drivers, you can walk through the paddock, and you can post whatever you want. And it's not regulated. It's just so crazy that's a thing. I'm sure many of you have run into this if you try to bring a camera or if you try to bring anything into a concert of some sort and they shut you down. They tell you you have to take your camera and put it in the car or whatever. That's not the case with Formula Drift. It's so good. It's amazing. In fact, Formula Drift allows these individuals to come and shoot on track with us, which is the photo experience. It's something that I've been doing for the past couple of years. It allows anyone, any fan of drifting, or even if you don't like drifting, to purchase a ticket and shoot with me and all the other members of the media on track. It's so crazy. That just doesn't exist in any other racing series. It's been like this since the very beginning. I started shooting Formula Drift back in 2006. My first event was at Long Beach. And as I mentioned in my speech, this past Long Beach was my 127th event. It's so crazy that I've spent that much of my life shooting one series, but it was all worth it. One of the things I wanted to mention is that because all of these individuals in the Formula Drift paddock are following their passion, it allows me to follow my passion. Because they're pushing drifting and the technology and the skill and all that so much, I have to push as a content creator, and it allows me to practice my craft, and I really appreciate it so much. I've been drifting for about 3 years now, and before that, I photographed drifting for 17 years before I got in a drift car at all. I finally appreciate how much skill these drivers have after knowing how to drift. Before I started drifting, I was like anyone else in the stands. It's very easy for us to judge for ourselves on every single call, every single run, and that's the beauty of drifting, right? Every time somebody goes out for a run, you can be the judge and you can agree or disagree with the actual judges, but that's the fun part of it. And a lot of times, me, along with everyone else in the stands, would think, oh man, this person sucks, or this tandem is whack, or whatever. Or even back then, if you look at the old videos from 2006, 2007, it really seemed like they weren't tandeming at all. It was just so crazy how far apart they were. That was super easy for me to say, especially because I didn't know how to drift. I didn't know what it was like to be sideways. And after learning, now I finally have a higher understanding of what the drivers are going through. And I finally have the biggest appreciation, the greatest appreciation for how much skill they have, how much precision they have with these vehicles to be able to get within inches of these clipping points going 10/10ths with so much commitment. It's so crazy what they're able to achieve. I just couldn't even imagine having that sort of skill, but that's the beauty of drifting. I just love it so much, and I'm just so lucky to be able to capture it for this long. A couple other things I wanted to mention. I'm not alone when it comes to putting out all of this content. I have such an incredible team that pushes so hard. All of us, we're so lucky to work together to bring you as much automotive content as possible. Just wanted to thank Lewis, Tyler, Luis, Peyton, Kegel, Daniel, Izzy. All of us, we just push so hard, and we're just so lucky to be able to do what we do for a living. I wouldn't be able to do it alone. It's impossible. There's just so much to do, and it's almost like I have a bunch of clones, but they all have their specialty, and it's just super cool to see everyone's incredible skill, because we all just have our own vision when it comes to car culture. Just wanted to give you a little more history about my relationship with Formula Drift. As I mentioned, 2006 was my first season. I shot 2 events that year. I shot FD Long Beach and Irwindale. And in 2007, I shot 3. I shot Long Beach, Irwindale, and Sonoma. In 2008, I shot 4, which included Vegas. In 9, I shot 6 events. I only missed Road Atlanta because I was shooting something else. 2010 was my first year that I went to every single round. And in 2011, I did the same. 2012 was when I became the official photographer, and I've been doing that ever since. One thing that I've mentioned before was that I had kind of a crossroads in 2012 when FD actually asked me to become the official photographer. At the same time, Formula Drift Atlanta Round 2 was the second event that I was the official photographer. Ken Block reached out and asked me to shoot Gymkhana 5 in San Francisco, and I actually turned him down. I told him that I had to commit to Formula Drift because at the time it was honestly the biggest deal for me to get that official photography gig. It was something that I've wanted, and it was such a great honor, and it was something that I wanted to do. I didn't want to let them down, especially if it was just my second ever event. At the time, it was the most difficult decision that I made, but it was pretty easy for me to make because I knew that the FD thing would be long-term. Of course, working with Ken, it was also long-term, but I just knew that if I showed that I was committed to the series versus just doing Long Beach and then dipping out for Gymkhana and then coming back, who knows? I don't know what FD would have thought after that. Maybe they would have thought, oh, maybe this guy isn't so committed. Maybe this guy wasn't as committed as they thought. I don't know. This still was probably one of the most difficult decisions that I had to make at the time, and hindsight, I think I made the right decision because I've stuck with Formula Drift since then, and they've stuck by me, and they support me so much, so definitely appreciate them for that. I started shooting with Canon cameras back in 2004. I saved up my pennies for a Canon Rebel XT, and it was honestly all the money that I had at the time. It was a little over $1,000 for this camera, and since I purchased that, I never looked back, and I've always used Canon, and I absolutely love the brand. So much of it comes down to the fact that Canon has such excellent glass. The lenses are so good. They have so many lenses that are f1.2, f1.4. I love shooting wide open so much. It's just like that different look that you can apply to car photography. So that's one of the main reasons why I stuck with Canon till now. When I started, I noticed that Canon had this program called the Explorers of Light. And what they've done is they've collected all of these incredible photographers that were the lead in their field. So it could be news photographers, sports shooters, wedding photographers, landscape, surf, skate, anything, whatever you shoot, conflict, whatever you're doing, if you're at the top of your field, then there's a chance that they have that person as a Canon Explorer of Light, as an ambassador for the brand, just to showcase what these cameras and what these lenses are capable of, because they want real people that are at the top of their field creating for them. And they wanted to just showcase real world photos. I was so glued to these individuals and the content that they were creating because it was very inspiring. It was so cool to see these people shoot with all these big white lenses, using whatever equipment they needed to push the limits of whatever they're photographing. And it could not have been further. I could not have imagined that I would ever become a Canon Explorer of Light. Come around 2018, I started doing some things for Canon. A couple individuals mentioned that they wanted me to come speak at one of their events in their Southern California location. So it kind of kicked off from there. After I spoke at that event, which I guess, sold out. It was standing room only, and it was a pretty successful event. After that, I did 10 more events for them. I did a bunch of workshops. I did a bunch of speaking events. I did a bunch of conventions. I pushed as much as I could to improve my education when it comes to cameras, car photography. I tried my best to teach as many people as I possibly could about car photography and just inspire other people to pick up a camera and start shooting. I finally got some notice from Canon. There's so many other incredible car photographers out there that are just so talented, honestly, way more talented than me. But the fact that I can help sell these cameras and the fact that I can get other people to pick up a camera and start shooting cars, that's what they were interested in, right? So I was doing my absolute best to court them to consider me for an Explorer of Light. And come 2009, Formula Drift, New Jersey, I invited a bunch of the Canon folks out to see what I actually do for a living. I wanted them to see drifting in person. I wanted them to see how hard we actually push their cameras. So a bunch of them came out and they just drove from Long Island because that's actually where the Canon US base is. They met up with me, they brought all their gear, and we were shooting, and it was a lot of fun. But the thing, honestly, that I feel like pushed Canon's decision over the edge, and I could be wrong, is just this crazy thing that happened at Formula Drift, New Jersey. The shooting location is very, very close to the stands. So at any moment in time, I could pretty much have a conversation with somebody sitting in the stands, which allowed for such an interesting interaction. Somebody in the stands just started chanting my name, and it went on and on and on and on. And it was just so embarrassing, I guess. It was fun for me to see because I looked at the Canon folks and they're like, who the hell is this guy? How is it that the crowd is chanting this photographer's name and they're not chanting the driver's names? I just thought it was the funniest thing. I mean, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know if it was a joke or if it was just a fun thing. But at the time, I was starting to do a lot more video content. I was starting to appear a lot on the Hoonigan channel, and I was just starting to do as much as I can in front of camera, just as a different way to reach a different audience. So it was awesome to see that so many individuals appreciated what I did, and the whole Larry Chant thing was so crazy. Not long after that, maybe just 2 or 3 months went by, Canon reached out and they offered me to become a Canon Explorer of Light. Lastly, I wanted to thank all the Formula Drift staff again. Ryan, Sage, Jim Lau, Cassidy, Kevin, all of the folks, everyone there at Formula Drift. I just appreciate all of you for pushing so hard, especially during the shutdown. In 2020, pretty much most of the racing series just took a break. Formula Drift pushed through and saved professional drifting. All of the teams were able to still push hard that year, and honestly, it was incredible to see. So I'll definitely never forget that. I also wanted to thank all of you so much for tuning in every single week. We're just so lucky to have this platform as a catch-all. We shoot so much stuff. As you guys know, I have a show on the Hagerty channel. We put so much effort into every one of those episodes. But when we're traveling for those episodes, we get to shoot so much other content that just can't make it into the Hagerty channel. So it makes it on my personal channel, which is great because it just allows us to shoot whatever we want, anytime we want, and it lands here. So definitely appreciate you for tuning in. So if you guys like this content, then please subscribe. We would love to get to 1 million subscribers sometime soon. So again, appreciate all of you for watching so much.